The UN is about to investigate itself again after it was revealed by the London Telegraph today that more than 20 different cases of child sex slavery involving UN staff have been reported in southern Sudan. The Telegraph reports that it has learned of dozens of victims, accounts claiming that some peacekeeping and civilian staff based in the town are regularly picking up young children in their UN vehicles and forcing them to have sex. The Telegraph states that it is thought that hundreds of children may have been abused. It's actually much larger than that. The Asian sex industry is a whole separate industry itself involving the triads and Bush Sr. that actually go back previous administrations, whether you know that or not. The UN has up to 10,000 military personnel in the region of all nationalities, and the allegations involving peacekeepers, military, police, and civilian staff, the allegations are rampant. The Telegraph also states that the Sudanese government, which is deeply opposed to the deployment of UN troops to Darfur, has evidence of child sex slavery involving video footage of Bangladesh UN workers allegedly having sex with 3 young girls, stating that such events are ultimately the work of a few bad apples. This is important to understand. The UN spokesperson promised that there's going to be a thorough investigation. But I would say over the past couple of years, there's been a hell of a lot of rotten apples rotting in the UN barrel. Last November, I'll remind you, a BBC investigation found that children as young as 11 had been subjected to rape and prostitution by UN peacekeepers in Haiti and Liberia. A previous BBC investigation in Liberia discovered systematic abuse involving food being given out to teenage refugees in return for sex. In both instances, the UN promised to investigate. In 2003, the Associated Press, another mainstream publication, reported that UN officials were identified as using a ship chartered for peacekeepers to traffic young girls from Thailand to East Timor as prostitutes. In the same year, it was also revealed that United Nations staff were guilty of raping women on a systematic scale in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, where the Diamond Wars have been going on for too long. Previous to this, in early 2007, a massive pedophilia scandal within the UN was uncovered involving sexual abuse against West African refugee children in Sri Lanka, Liberia, and Guinea. UPI reported that senior UN officials knew of the widespread pedophilia, and not only did they not take action against the perpetrators, they covered up the atrocities. It was later reported that after the UN's investigating arm had cleared several UN workers of charges of sexual abuse against West African refugee children, it substantiated 10 new cases against aid workers. Now, there's been damning cases involving workers making home porn movies and so-called weapons inspectors having bizarre, sadomastic, pansexual, and leather fetishes also emerging at this time. Back in 2004, the New York Post reported that the UN was trying to block the publication of a book by 3 United Nations field workers that detailed sex, drugs, and corruption inside multiple United Nations missions. It was called, quote, Emergency Sex and Other Desperate Measures, a True Story from Hell on Earth. It chronicles the experience of a doctor, a human rights official, and a secretary in UN operations in Cambodia, Somalia, Haiti, Rwanda, Liberia, and Bosnia. It is also alleged that the UN knowingly hires free criminals to operate as military peacekeepers. Now, there's also been previous reports on the intimate involvement of DynCorp, the contractors of the International Police Force, in such sex scandals. One DynCorp employee, Catherine Bolkovac, was sacked for detailing United Nations workers' involvement in the sex trade in Bosnia. Bolkovac was sacked after disclosing UN peacekeepers went to nightclubs where girls as young as 15 were forced to dance naked and have sex with customers, and that UN and international aid workers were linked to prostitution rings in the Balkans. DynCorp was ordered to pay Catherine Bolkovac, it looks like €110,000 by an employment tribunal, yet both the British and U.S. government as well as the UN continue to do contracts, give contracts, do business with DynCorp.